We have shadow mommies in this book. I regret being part of it and listening to it. It was the worst thing in my entire life. I hated it. What? No thank you. Hello, hi, and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and this is Wicked Reading. So, the purpose and theme of this week's vlog is to read the library books and library checkouts I currently have and finish those by the time they're due, but also actually a little bit sooner because I want to finish them by the time I want this vlog to come out. So I'm starting this vlog on August 10th, Saturday, August 10th, and these technically aren't due. I think the first one is due on the 24th. So I technically have like 2 weeks, but I want this up the 21st. So we're cutting our days down a little bit. So I have about a week and a half to try to read all of these books. And I think I can do it if I push myself. This is more books than I typically read in a week and a half, but I think I can do it. But the only thing is I think I also have another hold that might become available to me soon. What is it about library holds that they all become available at the exact same time? So I literally go from having no library books to having 10 library books at once. It never fails. It happens every time. So I may end up having a 4th physical book added to this list. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to get the 4th book in, but I have 3 books to start with. So the very first one is Foul Days by Genevieve Dimova. This was actually part of my bookmarks pick, my TBR, so I do need to read this. I'm not going to tell you guys what these books are about. I'm just going to run through them really quick. And then once I start actually reading them, we'll talk about what they're about. But I have Foul Days by Genevieve Dimova, which is a newer released fantasy. And then I recently picked up Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Elena Saab. This cover, oh my goodness. I saw this cover posted on Instagram, and that is what made me put this on hold, and it became available very quick for me, and I really just want to read it because I'm so intrigued by it. But it is more of a general fiction. And then the last one I have physically is Ein Hollow by Tim McGregor. This is a Frankenstein retelling story, and this is pretty short. It's just under 200 pages, so it's kind of nice that this one's shorter, so hopefully maybe I can get through all 3 of these, but the other 2 are a little bit chunky, so I'm a little bit nervous. But this would fall under the horror category. In addition to my physical books, I do have 1 audiobook currently checked out, and that is Jaws by Peter Benchley. I am currently 43% of the way in already, so I will definitely finish this by the time it's due and by the time I want this vlog done. Looking at my holds for my audiobooks, I don't think any of them will become available to me within the time of this vlog, so that is likely the only audiobook for now. But once I finish that, I will definitely try to find another audiobook, but we'll get there when we get there. But for now, these are going to be the main priority. So I don't know which one I'm going to start with yet, but I'll check back in a little bit. Okay, reading update on Foul Days by Genevieve Dimova. So I was not saying her name correctly. I don't know if I introed this book previously, but I know I said it wrong. I'm on page 125, so I'm a pretty good ways into it, probably about a third, maybe 40% of the way into it. So in the story, we are following our main character, Kasara. I am going to say right now that I do not know how to say a lot of the characters' names because they are, I think, all Bulgarian. The author is Bulgarian, so I'm assuming a lot of the names are Bulgarian. So a lot of them, my mouth doesn't move the way it needs to for a lot of these names, but I'm hoping that I'm at least saying the main character's name correctly, and that's Kasara. So we're following our main character, Kasara, and she is a witch, but she's kind of described as like more of a mediocre witch. Has very limited powers. They're very, mundane things, heating up a coffee, warming up her feet, stuff like that. I don't know. So very mundane, but she's a witch. And she lives in a place called Chernograd, which is pretty much right outside of this really nice city that I don't remember the name of, but it's surrounded by a wall. And they pretty much blocked out all of the people from Tshirnograd. And the reason being, on foul days, or during foul days rather, that starts on New Year's Eve, the veil to like another realm becomes so thin that a bunch of monsters pretty much descend onto Tshirnograd. So foul days is the 12 days that these monsters are pretty much free roaming, running all around the city. One of these monsters is actually Kasara's ex, Zmei, maybe Z-M-E-Y, and he's known as like the Tsar of the monsters. So she is in a situation where foul days is starting and she needs to escape fast. And there's this stranger that's like, give me your shadows, which is her source of her magic. All witches, they have like shadows, and that's their magic. So we have shadow mommies in this book. So the stranger's like, give me your shadow and I will bring you through the wall to the really nice city. And she's just that desperate that she's like, okay, fine. So she makes her escape, but her shadows are gone, so is the stranger, and she's in this new city. And she realizes that she probably should not have done that, because when witches give up their shadows, they themselves start to pretty much disintegrate into shadows and are just slowly dying. So now she's desperate to find her shadows again, and she ends up kind of almost reluctantly joining forces with this detective that is investigating some like smuggler cases, and there's kind of like this mobster scenario going on where both cities kind of smuggle things to and from each city through the wall. So he's like in charge of investigating stuff like that, and he's like investigating a big person that's like the top of this gang, I guess, and she was technically smuggled over by a smuggler he's interested in. So anyways, they join forces and it's kind of becomes her trying to find her shadows. There's like some other mystery things going on, but I have really been enjoying it so far. It's definitely much more fun. I almost want to say cozy, and it just, I don't know, it's just more of a good time. It's not super serious, while I think that there is some serious stuff that has happened to our main character that we don't fully know yet. For the most part, it feels much more on the lighthearted side. I'm really liking all the monsters and the creatures of this world. I'm enjoying the dynamics. Our main character is pretty much like a loner, but not like a sulking loner, which is a very different type of character. She just like happens to be a loner, and I don't know, I really like her and I like what's going on. I'm not like super obsessed with it, but I'm having a really good time so far, and it's reading pretty fast. So yeah, I'm excited to keep reading. It definitely delves a little bit into classism and xenophobia and like the immigrant experience and like rich versus poor. So it definitely has those themes that are a bit obvious, a little too heavy-handed at times, but I respect it. I get it. I think it's a good message. So it definitely has those themes going on, which I do really appreciate as well, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. So that's my update with that. So my plan for the rest of the night is to just read. But real quick, I wanted to show you guys this hoodie that I'm wearing because if you don't know, I did launch some merch. I wanted it to be super casual. I didn't want it to be like obvious merch. I wanted it to be something that like I would wear casually too. So this is one of my designs. It says Unhinged Woman on it, but your version would say Unhinged Women. But it's Unhinged Women Fan Club. The bottom says supporting women's rights and wrongs. And this is the blue and pink colorway. It does come in another colorway, but it's available in hoodies, crew necks, t-shirts, all the stuff that I really like to wear. So there's that. Shameless plug. I just want to show that off. There's some other stuff too. There's a mug. There's some other t-shirts and hoodies and sweatshirts with other designs on them. But this is like my favorite right now. I am living in this hoodie and it's so cozy and I love it so much. I'm wearing it in XL because I like to wear stuff super oversized, if you guys haven't noticed. But yeah, so there's that shameless plug for you. So I'm going to get back to reading, and then I will catch up with you guys when I have more to say about foul days. Just kidding. Before I start reading again, I forgot. I also finished the audiobook for Jaws. So My final thoughts on Jaws, I say stick to the movie. It wasn't that bad in the beginning. I actually really, really liked the opening scene, the opening shark attack. It did kind of scare me just thinking about being in that character's position. So the opening scene was really cool and effective. And I was still kind of enjoying it the first like 15%. We're getting a lot of the community and how that's affecting everything. And there's this pretty much war, I guess, unsaid, not very like vicious or anything, but this, I guess, animosity is a better word. Animosity between the local people that live in Amity all year round and the kind of bougier lifestyle, richy folk that come and vacation over the summer. So there's kind of like this unsaid animosity between these two groups. And I kind of enjoyed that aspect to it too. But then like the book kept talking about people, and then we're getting like the small town politics, and then we're getting the sheriff's relationship with his wife and their marriage, and they're doing a dinner, and then we're reading about these people having dinner, and then we're reading about these two people that are like flirting and encroaching on a fair territory. And can I just say, I want to find it in the book because obviously I listened to the audiobook, but there is a very long moment of this book. Let me also say that everything that happens in this book is very long, but there is a moment in this book where there's two people flirting, and the conversation that they're having in a flirty tone is absolutely bananas, and I regret being part of it and listening to it. It was the worst thing in my entire life. I hated it. It happened around probably like the 55 to 60% mark. So I'm trying to look around there. Okay, I've found the moment. Let me find the exact line that I want to read you guys. So these two people are flirting, and then they start talking about like sexual fantasies, and the guy's like, well, what's yours? And she's like, run-of-the-mill, the old run-of-the-mill fantasies getting R-worded. Ma'am, let me just say that's not a run-of-the-mill fantasy. I'm not here to kink shame. That's totally fine, but look who wrote this. Look who wrote it. Oh, wait, man. So don't like that was talked about. And then they're talking about tight hoo-has. And she gets chicken for dinner. My camera died. I don't know where I left off. But anyways, these people are having this insane conversation in a restaurant, mind you. They are in a restaurant and talking about fantasies in way too much detail that didn't need to happen. She's like asking him how big he is, and he's asking her how tight she is. But anyways, so she gets chicken for dinner and the chicken gets delivered to the table. And she starts giggling, and he's like, what's so funny? And she's like, I'm just wondering if, oh Lord, I'm getting a pain in my side. If chickens have, talking about vaginas, she's saying, I'm wondering if chickens have vaginas. And the guy goes, of course. Talk about a tidy. Talk about a tidy. Y'all. What? No, thank you. I literally have never listened to or read a worse flirting scene in my entire existence. Look who wrote it. Look who wrote it. Did people flirt like that back then? I don't think so. I hope not. 'Cause what the hell was that? So random. So random. And then the book continues to be boring, and then they find the fish the last like 50 fucking pages. So yeah, I did not like this. Did not like this at all. It was just boring. It would have been a 3 if that absolute abomination of a flirting scene didn't happen. Y'all, I wish you guys, I wish I can convey without like probably getting demonetized and banned from YouTube on how wild that conversation was. And so misplaced, so unnecessary, and so strange and cringy and uncomfortable. So that makes this book a 2-star. I liked the beginning and I liked the end, but to say the end, I probably mean like the last 10 pages, because literally they don't even start looking for this damn shark until the last 20% of this book. And then there's a lot of back and forth with that. So they don't even really... Anyway, I thought that this was going to be a lot more scientific, honestly. I expected it to be... Not that I've read Jurassic Park, but from what I've heard, the book is a lot more science-focused and science-heavy than the movie was. So I was kind of hoping that this is how Jaws would be, and it would be a little bit more on the science side. But instead, it's a lot more ignorant than I thought it would be. And we have characters that are straight up saying sharks just don't even think, and they're stupid, and they just eat whatever. Which, like, maybe has some merit, but... I don't know. I thought it'd be a little bit different for sure. Anyways, stick to the movie. Don't read the book. So I'm getting rid of that book. And then now I can get back to reading Foul Days after giving you guys that wonderful snippet and peek into the beautiful literature that is Jaws. Reading update time. I got a lot of reading updates for you guys. I ended up finishing Foul Days by Genoveva Demova, and I really ended up liking this like so much. I had so much fun with it. It's definitely much more of a like fun fantasy. It was feeling a bit cozy, but there is some deeper and like kind of darker underlying themes to it. It does have underlying themes of partner, domestic, emotional abuse. There is implied physical abuse, but it doesn't really go into detail. And there's characters dealing with a lot of grief and guilt surrounding the loss of loved ones. So there is some like deeper and darker things kind of within the story, but just at its surface level, it's super fun. It was a really fun time. I really enjoyed all of the monsters, all of like the magic, and I liked the character. I liked following her. I thought she was pretty funny. I laughed out loud quite a few times reading this book. So really, I just had a fun time with it. Like, this is one of the more fun books that I feel like I've read this year. It was a nice breath of fresh air. There is maybe hinting at maybe like a romance that might happen, but it really took way the back seat in this book, so it's definitely more fantasy forward, like way fantasy forward. And it almost had a little bit of like an urban fantasy feel, just with the way that the world was, because there's humans and like witches living with the humans, but these monsters, again, are only really around during Foul Days. So yeah, I had a really fun time with it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I don't know why. Honestly, I'm not gonna give it 5 stars. There's just a couple of things that held me back. I feel like the beginning was a little bit clunky, but I understand that like why it needed to play out the way it did, but it just felt a little bit clunky to get our character in the correct environment, in the right context of the projection for the rest of the story to go in. And I guess maybe the theme within the domestic emotional abuse situation was a little bit on the nose. In terms of like the tagline on the book is like a little cringy, and it just says the scariest monsters are the human-shaped ones. So it's kind of a little bit on the nose in that way, but I still really enjoy the story. There's even a scene in here that for whatever reason made me think of Hotel Transylvania, and like the monsters arriving at the hotel. It made me think of that, and it was really fun, and I had a good time. That's it. That's all I gotta say. I'm just gonna keep repeating that. So I don't have like super deep analytical thoughts with this book, but I do recommend it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. So moving on from this book, I did end up starting the audiobook for Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Alana Saab. So this is available on audiobook on Spotify, so that's where I started it. I am currently on page 131, about a third of a way into the story. So this is much more of a literary fiction story in which we follow our main character, Norma, and she is meeting with her new therapist. So a lot of the book is structured as conversations between her and her therapist, but also in a stream of consciousness type of way where we're in Norma's mind and getting her thoughts and feelings along the way during these conversations. And so it's set up a bit like that. And the therapist is telling Norma that she is going through depersonalization / derealization disorder, in which Norma just calls it oblivion. And she's describing how she feels / doesn't feel in this mindset that she goes in and out of. But that is kind of what the therapist is diagnosing her with, is depersonalization, much more leaning into derealization. And I think it's a really, really interesting concept. I found out this year about depersonalization and derealization. Actually, I found out about it after reading, or like while I was reading Tear by Erica McKean. And I feel like this book is a bit like that. Like you feel like that's what the character's going through. You never really get answers with this, and it definitely leans into more bizarre fever dream territory, and it gets much more horror and strange. And like this is very literary, so it's a little bit different, but this still kind of gives me those same vibes. And that's why I wanted to pick this up, is with that depersonalization word tag attached to it that made me immediately intrigued, and I am really enjoying it. I like the character. This too is also very darkly funny, because what she's going through is like so just unimaginable for somebody who's not dealing with that. It's difficult for them to explain, and it's difficult to understand. So it's sad in that way, and you feel for her, but she's also not taking anything that serious, so you're also laughing with her. So I'm really enjoying the approach. It's definitely more of a character study, character driven type of story. It kind of reminds me of Big Swiss by Greta, no, not by Greta, that's the main character, by Jen Began. It reminds me of Big Swiss by Jen Began in that kind of cadence and flow that story follows with stream of consciousness. That's kind of how our character Norma thinks, but about totally different things, if that makes sense. So they're thinking about totally different things, but almost have the same attitudes towards it. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. The audiobook, the narrator's doing a really great job, so I think I might stick to the audiobook. The only reason I started the audiobook was Foul Days ended up taking me a day or two longer than I wanted it to have this vlog up in time. So I was getting a little bit nervous that I wouldn't be able to finish this one in time. So I started the audiobook, but I'm really liking the narrator. So I might stick with the audiobook and do more of an immersive read where I have the audiobook playing in my ears, but I'm following along with the book now that I can sit down with it physically. But it is formatted in a way that I think it would be a really quick read too, because there's quite a bit of spacing in these conversational areas of the book. Feeling like a pretty good star rating, higher territory, maybe like a 4-star right now. We'll see what it does with the rest of the story, but that's where I'm at with my reads currently. So the plan for the rest of the day is to eventually sit down and read more, but before I do that, I'm actually gonna head out, go to a store. I really need to go to like Home Goods and TJ Maxx and get some more house things. Finally, after being in this house for 3 months now or something, 2 months, 3 months, I don't know, it feels like a bit long. We finally have a dining room table. So I have to kind of like get stuff for the dining room table. I want to get like a table runner and like a centerpiece thing, and I want to get some stuff for the walls. So that's my plan for now. I'm going to head out. I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. Tomorrow I will be doing Patreon reading sprints. So I will have my patrons to read with tomorrow. So I'll get a good chunk of my books done. Maybe even start Iron Hollow tomorrow, because honestly, Please Stop Trying to Leave Me reads pretty fast. So I might even get to Iron Hollow tomorrow. We'll see though. I'm not going to talk too soon. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will update you guys later. Okay, I have some packages that I want to open with you guys. One is a book, okay? We're not going to talk about the fact I wasn't supposed to be buying books right now, but it's a book. And then the other package is some bookish goodies. So I got another order from Book Babe Designs. I will link her Instagram down below. She does a ton of bookish merch, bookish stuff, and she recently did a t-shirt drop. So of course I had to get a couple because the designs were just too freaking cute, and I'm so excited. So I ended up getting, oh my god, this is so cute. So I ended up getting the bat one. Oh my god, I love it. Oh my god, I forgot the back. It says, please keep the locals hydrated on the back. I totally forgot she put stuff on the back of these ones this time. So cute. I love it. Oh my god. So love that so much. And the other one I got, oh, I love this too. And then this one I also love. It's so cute. The back though, the back is my favorite. With the rear view mirror. Oh my god. And the little pumpkins. This is so cute. I love it so much. So new t-shirts, can never go wrong with new t-shirts for me personally. And then I do have a little bit of book mail. So this is a special edition of a very small, like indie published book. So I made the exception to buy it for those reasons, because I think it just sounds so good and this edition is so pretty. So, this book is so stunning. Now the cover is technically just a colorway change, but I love the colorway of this, but this also has like more going on with it. So I got Winter Harvest by Iona Papadopoulos? I don't know. That is a tough one for me. That is a lot of letters. So this is like so beautiful. This is the Twisted Retreat edition. The edges, all this like mosaic work is so stunning. Those edges are beautiful. The naked cover is something. The naked cover is so glossy. Really pretty. Back's the same. The end pages are stunning. Oh, the other one's the same one. And then it looks like it's actually, well, not a reversible cover, but there's an image on the inside too. So this book is actually a dark retelling of Persephone and Demeter. Is that how you say that god's name? I don't know. But it's a dark retelling of Persephone and another Greek goddess. And this is just really such a beautiful book. And I usually don't like people on like the covers, but my goodness, she is stunning. She is absolutely beautiful. So yes, I did get a new book, but that's all I want to show you guys right now was my new stuff. But wait, there's actually more mail that I want to open with you guys. This is not actually bookish, but one of my amazing, lovely, extremely talented patrons sent me a gift and I wanted to show you guys. So I'm so excited to open it, but I am a little sad because the mail carrier was not gentle at all. And it busted at some point and it was in a very dirty vehicle and I could see that it's a little bit stained, which is not Paige's fault at all, but hopefully I can get that off. I'm a little bit nervous to get more dirt on it because this package is a little bit dirty, but I'm so excited to see this guy. He's so much bigger than I thought he was going to be. Oh my god, he's huge. Stop. Oh my god, it's so much bigger. I thought it was gonna be a little thing and he's literally the size of like a 3-year-old. Oh my god. Wait, there was a note too. She said, thank you so much for letting me send you a plushie. I hope he gives you nightmares in the best way, bunny. Thank you so much, Paige. So if you guys don't know, this is Art the Clown from Terrifier, but we can't technically call him that because of like copyright stuff, but she freaking crocheted this. Isn't that amazing? That's so much talent that I don't have. And he looks so cute. I love him. Oh, and his little like bib comes off if I wanted to take it off. I'm not gonna take it off, but it actually like legitimately ties and could come off. She is so insanely talented, and she actually has a Etsy shop with a bunch of horror plushies and like other cute plushies, but a lot of horror plushies that she hand crochets and sells. So I'm gonna link her Etsy down below. Definitely check her out. She has the cutest Chucky. She has a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, one of the clowns, but she also has it in like a pink colorway. Also Sam from Trick or Treat. She has that character in a pink colorway. She's got Ghostface. She has Michael Myers. She has Jason. All the good ones she's got. She's got Coraline, which is so cute. But I wanted to get Art the Clown, and he's so cute. I am so obsessed. And again, I'm so surprised at how big he was. I thought he was gonna be like a little handheld little guy, but no, he is a full-blown toddler, guys. Oh, and she added a little sticker. I didn't even notice that. He slipped right by me. Oh my God, wait, there's more stuff in here. Hello. Oh, she added a bunch of stickers. Oh my God, these are so cute. We have the Nun. We have a Jack Skellington, and then a Ghostface, and he's so stinking cute. And there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What's his name? I forget his name. Ted? Is that his name? That is not his name. I forget his name, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy. And Jason. These are so cute. I love this art style. And then a little crochet coaster that's in a shape of a flower. That's so cute. Oh my God. I want to learn how to crochet so bad, but it's not even necessary because we have amazing talented people like Paige who could do it for us. So thank you so much, Paige. Literally, I'm just like in awe. Like, this is so amazing. He's so freaking cute. I'm obsessed. So yeah, like I said, her Etsy shop will be linked down below if you want to check out all her plushies and support her little small business. Thank you again so much, Paige. You are seriously the sweetest. You are so talented, and I freaking love my little Art the Clown. So reading update, I'm officially on page 171, which is 41% into Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Alana Saab. So as I said before, I started this on audiobook, and I've been sitting here listening to audiobook and reading along physically with it now that I can finally sit down with the book. And I must say, I feel like if I went into this just physically reading it, I would have been super confused, because a lot of the book, like I said, is conversational between her therapist and her, and then but also her thoughts. And there's like no quotation marks or anything. Like, this is the conversation between her and her therapist. So like, I don't know who this is, but like her therapist would say something, then she would say something, then the other person would say something, and then back, and then maybe she's having a thought here. So it's very much formatted in a way that I feel like would be really difficult if I started it physically. I feel like I might have been confused if I started it that way, but because the narrator is doing such a great job at having different voices, and you can very clearly tell when it's an internal thought and when she's speaking out loud, and then when the therapist is speaking, because the narrator is doing such a good job, it has been a really good story. But I do feel like if somebody started this physically, it would not be the best, you know? So it does feel like a very experimental book in that way, because we're following this author and she's talking about her, you know, derealization, depersonalization, but also about her writing this book, where this book is that, you know? So it's a little bit interesting in that way. But then we also get moments like this chapter I'm about to start. It's just called Philosophy, and it's supposed to be a manuscript that the character had written previously. And then there's like moments where she's referring to this book and her writing it, because like there was a chapter or whatever, a moment, and she's talking about this conversation, and then she's talking about a conversation she had with her girlfriend, and her girlfriend was just like, just forget it happened. And the next line is, and so I did, and then I wrote this chapter. So if that makes sense, it's very kind of like, I don't know, meta, I guess, in that way, where we're reading the author's stream of consciousness as she's writing this book and struggling with writing this book, but then also throwing in some other stories she's written. Okay, so it's interesting, and it's definitely experimental. It's definitely very lit fic, I will say that. So at this point, I am still enjoying it, but I don't know if it's holding my attention the same way and holding my interest the same way, because we've kind of like moved on, I guess, from the conversation of derealization and depersonalization, and we're less focused on that, and just at this point kind of following the character a little bit more, and like getting some of her background stories and stories of like her parents and like their divorce, or I don't know that they divorced, but like there was an affair situation, so we got like a story of that. And like, so I don't know how I'm feeling right now. I think for now I'm going to set this down, because there is only like 5 hours left of the audiobook. It's a pretty quick one, and I'm listening to it at 2 times speed, so it will only take me 2.5 hours to finish the audiobook. And I have more drive time for my work commute in the next couple days, so I will be able to finish this by the time I want this vlog to be done. So I will probably set this aside for now, because I'll just finish it with the audiobook on my drive time. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up Ein Hollow by Tim McGregor and start reading this one physically for the rest of the day. So I don't really know what the synopsis of this is. I just know it's like a Frankenstein inspired story, so that's all I'm going in with. So I'll give you guys a synopsis once I figure it out. But that's what I'm going to start reading now. Okay, I have some reading updates. I just started my dishwasher, so sorry if you can hear that in the background, but that's what that is. So I finished Please Stop Trying to Leave Me by Alana Saab. So where we left off, it was starting to feel a little bit dragged to me, and it did pick up a little bit more in the end. We ended up unveiling some trauma, so check out trigger warnings for childhood trauma situation stuff if you need those. This book implies a lot but doesn't go into detail very much about anything, but there is implied childhood trauma. So I did really enjoy the ending of this book. Kind of, I have a little bit of mixed feelings about the ending of the book, not gonna lie, but I think I mostly liked it. So this book, I think I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I think overall, I did really like the beginning. I did enjoy following our character, and there was moments of the writing that I really connected with, that really resonated with me. But then there was a lot of moments of the story and of the writing that did not resonate with me and did not hold my attention. And there was quite a lot of modern day references, and for me, I cannot stand a modern day reference. I don't know what it is. It will just immediately make me cringe. So there's like just references to Joe Biden being president, and it just very much aged itself. And I can't stand a modern aged book. I don't know what it is. If it were a reference of 10 years ago, like references have to be minimum a decade old for me to not cringe. Unless the book is a memoir or is like zany and it fits the type of book it is. Otherwise, a modern day reference will just make me internally cringe. I don't know what it is. So there's just like a little bit too much of that in this book, and some of the stuff just felt a little convoluted. And yeah, I just didn't connect with the whole story, but there were definitely some standout moments in the book, and I did overall still enjoy it. I just didn't really enjoy it, but I do think it's above average. I think it's very unique. And like I said before, it's quite experimental feeling in its formatting and in its approach. So I respect the uniqueness of that as well. But yeah, 3.5 stars. I don't know if it's one that will last very long in my mind. Honestly, this is like the closest I've been to doing like a 3.25 star. I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to do quarter stars, but this is very much kind of like right between a 3 and a 3.5. So then I did end up starting Ein Hollow by Tim McGregor. I'm currently on page 82. I'm just under halfway through because I think this is 174 pages. So I'm just under halfway through. And going into this, all I knew, or thought I knew at least, was that it was a Frankenstein inspired story. And that it is. So we are following our main character, Agnes, and we are following her POV in the year of our Lord and Savior, 1797. And she lives on this very small, kind of isolated island with her husband, who is like a native to this island, and it's literally like 20 people live on this island. Very small. And she lives on this island, and she's kind of like a little bit bitter. Like, she doesn't know how she got where she is in life. The way this book opened was something. Was not expected, but it was something. But she pretty much feels like almost cheated in life. She's like, how do I have all these kids? And my husband kind of sucks. And I don't know, she exudes the energy of feeling like she kind of wanted more for herself, but she is making it work, and she's got a friend on the island, and they're super cute together. I like their friendship. But one day, a stranger decides to come to the island and stay at this like abandoned house on the island. And this new stranger has brought all the buzz, because again, they are a very small island, very close knit. So all the buzz is around this new stranger, and Agnes pretty much gets volunteered by her husband to help this stranger cook dinner and clean and stuff, and pretty much like be kind of his housemaid, but not fully. And she's kind of telling him, I'm not doing all that. I'll stop, give your food, but I'm too busy. But anyways, that's kind of where the story takes off. So we're following Agnes in her day-to-day, and then a new stranger arrives, and she crosses paths with them. So I'm really enjoying the story. It is very historical. The text feels that way. It's written as old dialogue because we are in the first person POV of Agnes, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I'm liking the atmosphere. It's very atmospheric. I'm liking the writing. I really like Agnes as a character, and it's been funny a few times. I've actually laughed out loud a couple of times, so I'm really having a good time with it. I'm very curious where it's gonna go, since it kind of brought up these marital issues between Agnes and her husband. I wonder if that's going to end up coming into play, like what Agnes's story is going to be in the end. I'm really curious to continue to follow Agnes and see what becomes of her story, but I will come back with my final thoughts. Okay, so I have finished Ein Hollow by Tim McGregor, and I am very pleasantly surprised by the story. So I really liked the direction it took. I feel like this was just a really good additional story to plop into the Frankenstein lore. I feel like it fits so perfectly. I feel like the author captured the twerpiness that is Victor Frankenstein, yet still made me like him more than I actually liked him in the original Frankenstein. Potentially controversial opinion, I don't love the original Frankenstein story. I love Mary Shelley, and I love the idea and the premise and what she had to do to get published and all of that, but I don't necessarily love the execution because Victor Frankenstein is a very unlikable character that I just really didn't enjoy reading from. I found him to be so twerpy and so annoying, but honestly, he was very well captured that way in this book, but I still found myself liking him a little bit more. And he had a little bit of more good characteristics, I feel like, in the story. But he's really not the main focus, honestly. Our main focus is on Agnes, and I really, really enjoyed following her. I will say there's like some stuff at the end I felt like was a little bit dragged. I probably could have done without like 20 to 30 pages of like the end, but I still really enjoyed it, and it was very well written. I really liked the way it was written. I really liked the atmosphere. I liked a lot of the underlying themes. I liked how women were brought into the story, and the main character was a woman. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 stars. Really had a great time, but yeah, just like maybe 20 to 30 pages I could have done without, but I understand why they were there at the same time, but it just didn't capture me as much. But it gets pretty gruesome, gets pretty brutal. There's definitely some triggers to be aware of for this story. I will put the content warnings on the screen now, so if you are somebody who thinks that content warnings or trigger warnings are spoilers in themselves, look away real quick. But here is the listed content warnings for this book, so definitely be aware of those. It does get quite detailed and quite gruesome during some of the moments. Specifically, this moment here really made me question a few things, okay? So, but really good. Really enjoyed it. Well written. Good time for, you know what I mean, as good of a time as you can have with a story like this. Really happy I read it, so 4.5 stars. So this and the other Frankenstein inspired story that I've read so far this month are both my 2 highest rating books of the month. I still don't have a 5-star, but I have 2 4.5 stars, and both of them include Frankenstein stuff. So interesting. There's definitely a correlation there. I did end up starting Patricia Wants to Cuddle by Samantha, I forget. Hold on, let me go get my phone. Okay, I literally have no idea where my phone went. So it's up on the screen though. Patricia Wants to Cuddle by Samantha, last name there. I started listening to that audiobook today. I think I'm up to 10%. It's a quick audiobook. I think it's only 6.5 hours total, and I listened to it sped up. So I'm already like 10-ish% into that. Really enjoying it. Really having a good time with that. I'm so excited to see where it goes. I literally had no idea what the premise was. Literally at all. But it kind of follows reality stars, and it's very funny so far, and it feels a bit like it knows what it's doing. It's being satirical, but I think it's gonna go in a horror direction, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. But obviously I won't be finishing that for this vlog. This is the end of this vlog, but I just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek into what else I did start that you will see in my August wrap up. But now I gotta take these library books back to the library, and that is going to be everything for today's video. If you made it to the end, leave me what's something that's like Frankenstein-like? Is there a zombie emoji? I mean, he's not a zombie, but like kind of. Do either a hand emoji for the cover of this or like a zombie emoji down below if you don't have anything to say, but you want to say hi and let me know that you were here. Leave that in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for spending some of your time with me while I sit down and talk about books. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe for future content, turn on the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!